So quick disclaimer, I haven't seen Fantastic Four: The First Steps yet by the time this video is released. I don't want spoilers in the comments section. So based on what we know about the source material for this movie, Galactus is going to be defeated. I doubt we're going to introduce something like the Ultimate Nullifier, because this is a stupidly broken device that only creates problems for storytelling. Not to mention, blackmailing the giant spaceman who wants to eat the planet isn't exactly a visually stimulating thing that we come to superhero movies for. I'm going to say they're going to take a page from Earth's Mightiest Heroes and beam him into the negative zone. So this raises the question, what exactly is Franklin going to be doing? For the first steps, I don't see him doing much. Probably he's going to be a MacGuffin because, super powerful reality warper. But what comes after this movie? That's right, Doctor Doom. I'm going to say that during a post-credit scene, Doctor Doom is going to kidnap Franklin. I believe that Franklin is going to take the place of the Molecule Man in the Secret Wars 2015 adaptation, because the Molecule Man spends most of his time chained up as Doom's puppet, being a glorified battery after they kill the Beyonders. And I heavily doubt Doom is going to go that route, mainly because we haven't established the Beyonders as a major threat yet. So to simplify the story, I'm just going to have Franklin play the Molecule Man at full power. Essentially, Doom is going to take Franklin and raise him. In essence, Franklin is going to be a composite of his comic book counterpart and his sister. And Valeria in the comics fights dirty, is as smart as Reed, actually smarter than Reed, and is pragmatic. And more importantly, she calls Doctor Doom Uncle Doom, and Doom has a certain fondness for Valeria. It feels very in character for Doom in his pettiness to kidnap Reed's child and then raise him as his own in order to hate Reed. Comic fans are already typing in the comments section, but Doom already has a child. He adopted Christophe Bernard. Christophe became Doom's heir after Christophe's mother was violently cut down in front of him and Doom. And by extension, this would make Franklin a composite character of his comic book counterpart, his sister Christophe, and Franklin Von Doom in Secret Wars 2015. See, the multiverse was destroyed, but Doom took the fragments and composited them into Battleworld. Among them is that he found a version of Sue Storm, Valeria Richards, and Franklin Richards, and turned them into his family. This is Doom-level pettiness. So, by turning Franklin into the Molecule Man, you actually simplify a lot of the characters needed to make this all work. I'm sure in order to adapt Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars from the Time Runs Out storyline and the Secret Wars storyline that things will need to be simplified. The Beyonders, who were the main antagonists of the Time Runs Out storyline, I feel like they are not going to be adapted, or at least be loosely hand-waved, because they are ridiculously broken. Not to mention, Time Runs Out was a long storyline that we don't have time for, such as the Beyonders killing various cosmic entities across the multiverse. Their grand plan to destroy the multiverse is pretty convoluted. See, Molecule Man exists in every single universe, and Molecule Man can be used to detonate every single universe all at once. But since Doom started killing the Molecule Men of the multiverse, that put a wrench in their plans. So what they did was slam universes together in events called incursions. The Avengers, Doctor Doom, everyone tried to stop it, and even required some of their intervention, which Thor and I think Ex-Nihilo and another character ended up killing two of them. And this culminated with the end of both the original Ultimate Universe and Marvel 616. We don't have that time with Doomsday and Secret Wars. We can't do this long, convoluted, drawn-out storyline with multiple Earths. Well, I'm sure we could have done this long-term storytelling well if we established the whole multiverse saga as a proper saga and rather just take shots in the dark, but hey, what can you do? Back to my theory. I think at the end of Secret Wars, Doom is going to be betrayed by Franklin, much like how Owen Reese was more than willing to take Doom's powers after the whole, "You didn't feed me for how long?" which leads to this scuffle. However, you're obviously not going to let Franklin keep his vast reality warping powers, because reality warping powers of his scope and scale very hard to write around. In fact, many comic writers over the decades had a difficult time trying to write around his powers. There is no way that the MCU is going to be able to write around them without simply stripping them down completely or just making him powerless. And if this is the route they truly go, then you can adapt some of the trashy Dan Slott run into something that could be an interesting conflict. See, just because Franklin was reunited with his family does not imply that he stops acting like Christophe Renard or Valeria Richards, because in this theory, Doom kidnapped Franklin and raised him for several years within the multiverse. How do you simply get rid of that part of your childhood? Because Doom would raise Franklin in a way that he finds either easy to control, like the Molecule Man, or something pleasing to his own vanity. And I feel like a little bit of both. How do you do that with this character? How do you simply have this character unlearn it? And that would be a nice ground to set up the second Fantastic Four movie. How do you simply reconcile the fact that your son was taken from you for several years and now he's back? Funny thing enough, something like this actually happened during the 90s. Because of time travel shenanigans, Franklin was taken from his family and raised to become Cable Light. I just see a lot of opportunity for character conflict when it comes to Franklin and what happens next with him, because at his core, he is a kid who is way too powerful for the plot. And if you have a kid that's way too powerful for the plot, you do something simple. You try to make a story out of it, even if you have to composite him with several other characters. Although I feel like a major problem with doing this is that we're going to be removing a bit of the dynamic between Franklin and Valeria. One of the criticisms I've had of Franklin Richards as a character is that he really had no one to bounce off with when it came to his family's book. When it came to the Power Pack, that is a completely different thing, so I think removing his sister might be a bad move if we're going to do the route where we composite him and his sister. But that's not inherently bad. You can always create more supporting cast members, or you can just simply play up the family drama. And because I have a Power Pack quota to fill, I honestly don't think this version of Franklin would end up being a member of the Power Pack, mainly because children age very quickly in live action, so it's sort of pointless to do a Power Pack film in live action. I think this is going to be an animated feature. It's not like we don't have an art direction that's good for animation because of Gurahiro or anything. So yes, they'll exist in the multiverse, just not anywhere near this Franklin with a 10-foot pole. Those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.